Hi, this is Burgo, and this is going to be a tutorial for WitEden's Mixup Plus cube. First I'll label the piece types. We've just got standard Rubik's Cube pieces that I'll call as such, with the corners, edges and centres, but on the Mixup Plus cube we've got some inner edges that are part of the three pieces that make up an edge group. So I've got two inner edges and a standard edge piece on a edge piece group. The other nomenclature that I'll be using will be equatorial layer turns, and an E turn will be an E turn that way, an E primed is backwards, an S turn or standing layer turn, an S primed, and a middle layer turn or an M turn, which is this way, and an M primed, which is that way. I'm going to include some other nomenclature, which is an E plus turn, which is a half turn of the equatorial layer, and an E minus turn, which is a half turn, and an S plus, which is a half turn at the S slice, and an M plus or M minus, which is a half turn of the middle layer. Now that it's fairly well scrambled up, let's see what we can do about solving it. The first thing that we've got to realise is that it's got slice layers that move in between the corners, and I'm going to treat the corners as stationary and move the slice layers through until I can make the standard white cross to begin with. So let's put the white centre in the middle of four corners and turn in some just Rubik's Cube edge pieces until I've got the white cross made. You'll notice that these edge pieces can switch out with centre pieces or twist around in their place, so I'm just going to use those crossroads as such to move those edge pieces into a standard Rubik's Cube place and move my centerpiece back down so that I can turn my pieces in. And I'll make the orange. Of course, I don't have any centerpieces placed yet, so I just have to make them in their place. Turn out a blue one. Red opposite orange, and I'll check my red, white and blue faces line up, and there's my last one, my green one. So I'll pop that into a position here where if I knock that piece out it doesn't matter. Switch that down to there, make it into a normal Rubik's Cube edge. Place it as normal. Now I've got my white cross completed, and I've got my red, white and blue colour scheme with my orange opposite red and green opposite blue. My next step is going to be to solve my Rubik's Cube part of my equatorial layer. Now I'm just going to rotate my equatorial layer around and solve various parts by exchanging out with the top. So you can see my red centre is placed. I'm going to move around and solve this one next. So the red and blue edge piece goes here. That's just going to be a normal Rubik's Cube move. Like that. To place my blue centre here, I'll take it out of here, like that. Place my target position in the normal Rubik's Cube place and place it down there like this. return that. Now I'll be after my blue and orange, which is here, and I'll just turn it in. There's my orange centre. Place my target position again in the normal Rubik's Cube place. My target position is here, and place this in. And now I've got all these pieces solved. I've got orange and green for here. I need to reorientate that so that it's twisted by 90 degrees. I can, to repair that twist, I'll just put it in the place of a centerpiece here, and across my top layer I'm just going to rotate 3 edges and put a twist into there and a twist into there, a 90 degree twist into both. And so RU minus, RU, RU, RU minus, R minus, U minus, R2. And that's put a twist into there and a twist into there. Return that. My green centerpiece is there, so I'll move my target position into a Rubik's Cube edge piece position and place that one. I'm going to leave my last edge piece unsolved until I've at least repaired this piece, so I'll place that down into there. Give that a twist and rotate that and that by 90 degrees. RU minus, RU, RU, RU minus, R minus, U minus, R2. And that's put the twist into there. Now I'll insert my green and red edge piece. And I'm going to put a twist into this, a 180 degree twist into this. How I'll do that is put that on my right hand side there and give it a 180 degree twist here by doing an S plus turn to replace it out with the centerpiece, and doing a 180 degree turn of this with RU, RU minus, RU, RU minus 5 times. And that's orientated all of those. Next I need to cycle some around, so I'll cycle around my edges with zoom, and my edge pieces are solved. Now if I had the situation of an edge piece traded out with one of my centerpieces, what I'll do is just place my centerpiece down into this place here, replace my edge piece that's in my centerpiece with that, and place my centerpiece up into there, return that, and now my centerpiece is in its correct place, and I can return this edge piece and then work at restoring the rest. Now that all of my Rubik's Cube edges and centres are placed, I'm going to check for parity on the Mixup Cube, on the standard Mixup Cube, and to do that I'm going to just place all of my lower white corner pieces. So I'll just place them all. You can place them however you like. This is just a method, my Edge's first method for solving the Rubik's Cube. You can look that up if you need to. All I'm doing is placing and not orientating the 4 white corners without disturbing the edges here, so that I can, and without disturbing the edges here, so that I can check for parity. Now I've got one corner piece here lined up. I'll just check that the other 3 are in a 3 cycle, whether they're in a 3 cycle or not. And they all need swapping. None of them are in the correct place, so that means that I don't have parity in this situation. But I'll switch the cube around so that I do have parity and show you how to resolve it. Here. If I've got a situation where no corners are placed correctly, I'm not talking about orientation, I'm talking about placement in my U layer, I can perform a CPS. And that will place one, and then I'll be able to check for if my last 3 are in a 3 cycle. And that one needs to go there, that one needs to go there, and that one needs to go there, so they are in a 3 cycle, so I don't have parity. If 2 needed to be swapped, I would have parity. Now I've just created the parity on this to show you what it looks like, where all of my edge pieces are solved, my bottom corners are placed in their correct positions, and 2 top corners, this one and this one, are placed correctly, but I've got 2 that need swapping. That parity can occur in the edges, 2 edges that need swapping. It might look like 2 edges needing swapping. It might look like 2 centres needing swapping, although you wouldn't get that with this method. Or it can be 2 corners that need swapping. To show you how I'm going to resolve the parity, I'm going to use my standard mix-up cube instead of my Mixup Plus cube, just because it eliminates the inner edge pieces and it's a little bit visually more clear what I'm doing. In this case it's occurring in the 2 edges that need switching. On my solving method it occurs on the corners, two corners that need switching, but it's the same thing. It's exactly the same parity case, and the parity case can be simply resolved by turning the equatorial layer 1 twist and resolving the cube, or one of the slice layers. I'm going to choose the equatorial layer just because it's an easier little method, but I'm just going to do a series of moves that moves that equatorial layer 1 twist over and exchanges all of the edge pieces for centre pieces. And this is what it is. I'm just going to exchange my edge piece from there up to there, and then I'm going to twist it around, twist that equatorial layer, and I'm going to place it down here. So I've just skipped it around 1 position, and I'm going to lift this up, do a U minus turn, and place it down. And you can see if I just continue to do that and push that all the way around, that's going to move my equatorial layer 1 position. So it's very easy to remember and to complete. Now I'm going to do my U-turn the opposite way. I can get that up and back down, and turn this one in while I take that one out. It actually goes through 4.5 times. complete it for a 4.5 time cycle, and you can see that that's kept most of my cube intact as far as being solved. If you were solving the mix-up cube, I'll just show you how to complete that sequence. What I do is just a standard F to L sequence on this. And do a U-turn, and then all I need to do is orientate those. Now, if I was doing a standard mix-up cube, that's how I'd be doing it. Alright, so there's my parity solved and cube solved with my standard mix-up cube. On my WitEden Mixup Plus cube, I've got a lot of inner edges and things that need resolving. That sequence smashes my inner edges a little bit, so there's no point solving them before I do that sequence. So I might as well just run that sequence through in this stage right now. I will scramble the cube anyway while I'm doing my inner edges, not because I have to, but just because it simplifies the moves and makes it a lot easier to do. I don't have to use setup moves or anything like that. So while I'm placing my inner edges, I'll be scrambling the cube anyway. I just want to run that sequence through it and not worry what happens to it, except that I know that the sequence has worked. And I'm just going to be looking at, the sequence has changed the parity. I'm going to be looking for the return of this equatorial layer to its position with the pieces skipped one over. And I'll just to turn that out, turn that around to there, and turn it into its new position. And once I come back to this piece, it will all be done. You can see it taking place as it's happening. There's no real need to take account of how many moves you're making. And it's complete. So now I've resolved that parity, and I'll go ahead and reduce my inner edges and flip these over. I'll start by flipping them over. I can do both at once, and I'll show you how to do a little bit of that, but first of all I'll start with just a simple sequence of flipping those two inner edges over. I want to locate them in this position, and I'm going to do I want to do it without swapping centres, and I want to do it without changing that parity of the cube. So I'm going to do it with an inner edge 3 cycle. This inner edge here on my left hand back position will exchange out with my left hand front position and exchange out with my right hand front position, and then return to my left hand back position with this sequence. Unfortunately, I'll have to show you a setup move first before I show you the pure sequence, but I'm going to place 2 of my pieces here, and I'm going to do a setup move with an S plus move, and then bring this one here that was originally there. So I'm going to take this piece, bring it to here, and that's going to put it in a flipped over position, and I'm going to exchange it out with one that's flipped incorrectly here. So when I bring it down there and that exchanges with that will go to a standard position. The one that's a standard position will go in its correct position, and the flipped over one will end up here and go back to here. Here's my little sequence. I'm just going to do an E minus turn, L2, an E plus turn, L2, E plus turn again, F2, and an E minus turn to return that. And you'll see this one here, that one's come to there, this one's gone to there, and that one's going to go back up into there. And then when I return that, that will be solved. Let's do another one. So I'll just set up for it. You can see my two inner edges here and here, and one here that's not flipped. And we might as well try and place a few while we're doing it, because the next step that I'm going to do is to reduce my edge groups. So I'm going to be placing some of these inner edges. So I might as well be putting some in now. Let's just turn this down and place this green one into here as part of our cycle. And of course we can choose which one we're going to put this one in as well. So if I made this gap here, if that belonged to a red one like this, I might as well just do both of it. This is a little bit advanced. You don't have to place them at the same time. You can just flip them all over and place them later. But on this particular cycle, I'm going to cycle this into here and this red piece into here to solve these two pieces at the same time. I might just go and mark it so you can see what happens and where they go. Alright, I've just marked these pieces with a whiteboard marker so that you can see that I'm going to be joining my green edge piece to there, my red edge piece to there, and the other one's just not going to be solved. So let's run through that sequence. I'm just going to do a setup move there by turning up and in to here, and then I'm going to do an E minus, L2, E plus, L2, E plus, F2, E minus, and then I'm going to return this up and this back. And you'll see that even though the edge pieces have moved around from their original position, I haven't changed the parity, and I flipped the two that needed flipping and joined two together. Instead of just randomly flipping, I'm actually building at the same time. Now, of course, that's a little bit advanced, I suppose. You don't have to do that. I'll just wipe my whiteboard marker off. And there's two more to do. So there's an orange one. That will move to this one. And this green one will move to there. Alright. Now that I've got my cube reduced to its cubic shape, I can use that same little sequence to 3 cycle inner edge pieces around to reduce my edge pieces to the Rubik's Cube edge pieces, and then just solve it as a Rubik's Cube. So let's do a few setups and get that thing happening. Alright, got this one here where I'm going to place that, and I'll be looking for an orange one here, which I've already got, orange to blue, so I'll place 2 of those. I don't need the setup moves, of course, this time. And that's done. So I've got the the yellow one going to there, and there's a red to receive it. So I've got yellow to yellow, red to red, yellow to red. Placing two. Next to and a white one. So yellow, yellow, white to white. Green to green, white to white. If I'm left with two that need switching, I can just place a blue one in here to receive this and make a blue one come to here. So there's a blue one, and then when it goes blue to blue, red to red, and blue to blue. And that has reduced my cube to a standard Rubik's cube, and I can go ahead and solve my standard Rubik's cube. And the WitEden Mixup Plus is solved.